need to start PowerPoint, so you could, if it doesn't come up as one of your choices, you'd be all programs, and then Microsoft Office. Ah, what did I do? All right. Anyway, I'm gonna go straight to PowerPoint. You'd be Microsoft Office and then Microsoft PowerPoint, and you're going to come up with a new blank presentation, and you are in what we call normal view. And I'd like to talk a little bit about the screen before we get started with doing anything. And we will work through PowerPoint the same way we work through Word, which is by going through the ribbons. And I will talk and demonstrate, and then we'll come back together and do things together. And this goes along with the Introduction to Microsoft PowerPoint 2010 handout. Okay. In the window, what you're looking at, of course, at the top, you have the menu bar or ribbon bar, just like you do with Microsoft Word, and a lot of the screen shortcuts and all of that is the same as it was with Word. On the left-hand side of the screen, you see a small version of the current of all of the slides, with the current selected slide being large and taking up most of the screen. Okay, below the main document, you have a notes section, and you can add notes down here. Okay, so we can add some notes in there. That gives us some notes. Let's say if you want to remember to do something or remember to talk about something or whatever. Printing it in notes pages isn't ideal for a presentation just the way it prints, but you can certainly set the notes up to be usable. Down here you've got the view buttons. And the views you have are normal view, what we call slide sorter view, which shows multiple slides. Here, let me add a couple slides. There we go. Slide sorter view, which lets you see the slides, kind of the whole presentation in order. Reading view, again, if you were just viewing for purpose, and then slide show view, which is running the slideshow, which we have nothing to look at for that yet. Okay, and again, the ribbon concept is the same as for that in Word. When you're looking at, let me go back to normal view here, and let me get rid of, okay, a lot of the concepts that we'll talk about or that you'll see in PowerPoint are very similar, if not exactly the same as that in Word. So when we look at the home ribbon, and again, the home ribbon is always kind of the place where the most commonly used tasks are put. Some of what you find on the home ribbon you'll also find other places. But the clipboard up here on the left, same clipboard as Word, works the same way for that. The font section, again, same font formatting. When you're thinking about fonts in PowerPoint, you'll think about them a little bit different than Word, but the formatting works the same. A lot of the paragraph formatting also works the same. Now we have a slide section here. If we want to add a new slide, our default original slide is what we call the title slide, and that's the place where you add a title and a subtitle. If I want to add a new slide, I click on the new slide button. If I just click the button, I'll get what we call a title and content slide. That's a slide where we have title, place for a title at the top and content underneath. But as you can see, I could add a section header. If I had a long document, I could add to content, which lets me have multiple items. Comparison is very similar to to content, but it has a place for a caption. Title only, if I had a big graphic or something I wanted to add, blank, and a couple other content with caption and picture with caption. So as you can see, there's more than just title and bullets to your slideshow, and you've got a lot of flexibility for that. If I set a slide, say I set that, add that new slide and make it title with content, and then I go, oh no, I wanted that to be to content, I can go to layout and change it. Okay, so we've got that as an option. Alright, the next thing, let's see. Well, let's mention a couple more things on the ribbon, although we're not going to really mess with them right now. The drawing section here, if you need to add a shape or a call out or something like that, this is a quick way to do it. So say for some reason I needed a picture of a star on my title page. Okay, so I could click the star here, and then it has the formatting options. So maybe I want a yellow star instead of a blue star. So I could do all of that. All right, so you can see how quick and easy formatting for that. Drawing shows up also on the insert ribbon. When you want to insert shapes, you have all of that. So there's two ways to get there. Okay, so now we are at the to-do section. On the second page, if you would take a look, we should create a new blank presentation, which was kind of what I had you do at the beginning. The title slide, we're going to add the title, practice, PowerPoint, okay? And then the subtotal would be by and add your name to the slide. Okay, then we're going to add 3 more slides that we will fill in over the course of doing this assignment here. Okay, the first slide we're going to add on the drop down will be a title and content. The second slide we add, which will be the third slide, will be a to content slide, and then we will add a blank slide. Okay, and again, we will add content to each of those. Alright, and that's about it for the home ribbon. The next ribbon we want to talk about is insert, and this is another one that has a lot of similarities to Word. You can use the insert ribbon to add a lot of different things. Pictures works just like in Word. Clip art just like in Word. Chart we'll talk about, but when you add a chart, I'm going to do that here, and click OK, you get a chart sheet. Okay. And what you would do with this chart would be fill in the data. So maybe this is it's a series 1. It might be quarter 1 and quarter 2 and quarter 3. And if I needed a fourth quarter, I could come over here and make that a little wider. Okay. And look how smart it is. It figured that out. And maybe I'm keeping track of my hats and and coats and scarves and gloves. Okay, maybe I'm a store or something like that. And then I could put how much I sold. So maybe I sold 27 hats and 15 coats and 3 scarves and 12 gloves. And again, you fill in the data, and you can see, if you look over on the other side, how the chart changes when you add that data in. Okay, so you get that all set up. And then when you're done, you just close that, and you have a lovely chart in your PowerPoint. Okay, so I'm going to delete that because we don't need it. But again, you just replace the parts that are there with your actual data, and that's what happens with the chart. Another thing you can insert is a table, and that works very similar to Word as well, but nice. It comes in kind of nicely formatted, and it's a little more formatted than in Word because in PowerPoint it'll try to match it to your theme. Let's see, text box. I like this one when you insert a text box because it lets you basically stick text wherever you want it. Okay. So you can type it in, and then if I click on the border, I can move it, so I could add it. You know, if I wanted to add, point out something on my chart, I could add a little call out. If I had a picture, I could, below it, give credit to where I got the picture, and again, I can move it and size it and all of that. Word art is another thing that you can enter with the insert ribbon, and word art is kind of a text but as a picture. Okay, so you add and you can format it however you want with that. You can change the fill if I wanted to. Select that. Let's see. Let me fill it. Yep, I could change the fill. I could change the outline. I can size it. I have to size it on the home ribbon, but I can make it bigger. That way I can rotate it. That's kind of cool. That little green button lets you rotate it. If I click on the outside, I can move it around. Okay, so there's my word art. And then the last thing, let me add here. Okay, so the last thing I can add is a hyperlink. And, well, no, that's not the last thing. There's lots of things you can add. The last one we're going to talk about is the hyperlink. And if I wanted to set up a link maybe to a website or a video or something like that, I set up the hyperlink and then I'd select what I want to link to, click the hyperlink button, okay, and then I would paste whatever, let's see, I bet I have a video. Yeah, I was copying videos earlier. A link in the address bar, click OK, and there's my hyperlink. The other thing you can do, if you wanted to, was link to another location in the same document. So if I wanted to go to slide 4, maybe I have slide 4 hidden in case, unless someone asks a question. And if someone asks a question, I wanted to go to it. I could do that. And then when I run my presentation, I have to be running it, and I click on it, it will take me to 4, which isn't that impressive since 4 doesn't have anything on it. Okay, so that's hyperlink. Let's do this. We'll get rid of all of that and go back to that. Okay, as you can see, there are more things. Shapes, which I already demonstrated. You header and footer, which we don't really use as much in PowerPoint. Same concept as in Word, date and time. You do it mathematical. You could do equations and symbols. And then here's also how you would insert a video or audio file if you had an audio file. All right, so what are we going to do now? We're going to start adding some content to our presentation. So we're going to go to the title with content slide, our second slide. This is our do together, so join me on this one. And we're going to add the title, Meals for the Day. All right, that's the title. And then our content will be things that you would use. Something you'd eat for breakfast. So maybe I would have cereal. And something you would eat for lunch, maybe I'd have a sandwich, and something you would eat for dinner, maybe I would have pasta. Okay, doesn't really matter. Oops, I went too far, so I'm going to hit backspace, get that. As long as you have 3 bulleted items, it doesn't really matter what you put. Now we want to get a picture in there, and as always, you can copy and paste from the internet to Word, or you can save that picture. If you find a picture that you want to use later, you can save it as a file and insert it. And we'll do that for the purposes of what we're doing today. Notice this isn't a 2 content slide. We don't have to have a specific content holder for our picture. We can just add it to the file and place it where we want it. So I'm going to jump over here and I'm going to do, let me go to Google. And I'm going to do an image search for one of my words. Okay, let's go for, what do we say? Oh, sandwich was one that I put. So I would hit sandwich, and then I would do images. And I would find one that looks good. Let's see. That one looks nice, so I'll click on that. And I will right click and I'll choose Save Picture As. That gets me saving my picture. And I will call that Sandwich, if I could spell. Make sure you know where you're saving it. I happen to be putting this on the Pictures file. And then once I have that picture saved, I'm actually going to visit the website so that I can see where I got that from, so I can give credit. So I got that from a site called the Career Girl Network, which is kind of an odd place to find a sandwich, but okay. Now I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint, and I'm going to go on my Insert menu, or ribbon. I'm going to choose Picture, and I will go to my Pictures document file, and I will find my picture of the sandwich, which hopefully will be on here somewhere. Maybe. There it is. Okay, insert my sandwich, and there it is on my page. Now that's kind of a tiny picture, right? We have a lot of space to fill. We can make that bigger. So I can either, on the Picture Tools Format ribbon, I can either bump it up this way, or I can drag a corner. And I always suggest with images to drag a corner and not a side because that stretches it out. And then I can move it a little bit. Now, I want to make sure that I'm giving credit to where I got my picture. Okay, I didn't take that picture. I got it from a source. So I'm going to insert a text box here, and I'll just put it right below the picture. So I'll just click down here below the picture, and I'll say I got the picture from Career Girl Network. Okay, and just make sure you give credit to the source where you got it. Okay, so we've got that, and that kind of goes along with the picture. Okay, now on this next slide here, that's our two content slides. So we're going to work on that one next. On our two content slide, the title for that is Food Choices. Okay, and then the first thing we're going to do on the left hand side is we're going to put categories of food. So maybe dairy or vegetables or meat, whatever you want to put is fine. On the right hand side of our two content, we're going to insert a table. So I'm actually going to use the insert table button here as opposed to the one on the insert ribbon, because that one would just insert it in general on the slide, and I want mine specifically to go in that content holder. I want a table that is 3 columns, so we'll reduce that down to 3. There we go, 3 columns and 4 rows. Okay, so 3 columns, 4 rows, click OK, and there's my table. And the headings at the top row of my table is just the same food choices I have on the left. So dairy, vegetables, and meat. I can use tab to move in my table just like I did in Word. And here I would list dairy items, so dairy might be milk, vegetable might be squash, and meat might be pork, and then let's see, yogurt, oops, can't spell, vegetable might be broccoli, and the meat might be beef, and then finally another dairy might be cheese, another vegetable might be tomato, and another meat might be chicken. Okay, so you can pick whatever foods you want to fill that table in. Okay, the last thing we want to do, no, just kidding, wasn't actually the last thing. The last thing we want to do on this slide is pick one of these items. I think I will go with yogurt in this case, and I'm going to go back to the internet and I'm going to search. Let me go back to Google. Just do a search to find a website about that, of course, anything that tells me about yogurt. So we'll go here, WebMD, the benefits of yogurt. That looks like a great link. Doesn't really matter what you link to as long as it has to do with your site. I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to select the web address, the URL. I'm going to right click and choose copy. And then I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint and I'm going to double click to select the word. Oops. And on the insert ribbon, I'm going to choose Hyperlink. And then I'm going to make sure it says existing file or web page, and where it says address, I will Control V or right click and choose paste. That one works too. Click OK, and now you have a hyperlink that when you are running the presentation, that doesn't work when you're not running it, but when you're running the presentation will take you to the website. Okay, and that is the end of our third slide. Okay, the last slide we're going to do is the blank slide, and we're going to add a word art. Okay, we're going to click word art, pick one you like, and then pick a word, dinner time, or yummy, or let's eat, or something like that. And then I just want you to play around with it a little bit. So maybe select the text and go ahead and make it bigger. We have a whole slide to fill, so we might as well make it pretty big. And then back on the drawing tools format, maybe fill it, if you want to pick a different fill. Oops, that was the background. I didn't really want the background done. I wanted just the letter text fill. Helps you pick the right thing. There you go. And maybe the outline. I might make the outline a little thicker so it shows up a little better, and then maybe I will rotate it and point to that line and move it a little bit so it's kind of centered. Okay, so there we go, and that's my last slide. Okay, and I'm going to stop for now. This is the end of the first part of our PowerPoint. The rest of what we do with PowerPoint will be in the second slide, although you might want to go ahead and save this one in case you don't finish it right now. Okay, so we'll call that practice PowerPoint, and